Hey everyone! Looking to get the best bang for your buck with GPUs to up your gaming experience in 2025? You've come to the right place. I've searched high and low to bring you the top 3 graphics cards that offer great performance and value. We'll check out one that delivers high-end gaming at an affordable price, another that brings top-tier features to more gamers, and a surprise pick that outperforms much more expensive options. So stick around, and if you find this helpful, please like the video, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments below. All the details and prices are in the description. Let's dive in. Number 3. XFX Speedster Quick 319 Radeon RX 6750 XT Core. The Radeon RX 6750 XT is the refresh of the RX 6700 XT, based on the same RDNA 2 architecture with a higher memory clock of 18 gigabits per second and an increase in the boost clock. XFX builds on these improvements to push the card even further with their XFX Speedster Quick 319, combining sheer power with a great aesthetic design. Targeted at 1440p gaming, the card certainly makes its mark even at high settings. Starting with the overall design and feel of the card, it continues with the quick, sleek, and minimal design that makes it more pleasant and less aggressive. There isn't a barrage of RGB lights, but a black and silver theme that persists throughout the card. On the front, you get 3 fans for cooling with XFX branding, along with a subtle dotted pattern. The top features more XFX and Radeon RX 6750 XT branding, with a glance into the thick heatsink behind the front panel. The backplate uses aluminum and provides ample airflow through the cutout XFX logo and the directly exposed heatsink. The card is fairly well built for its size, providing a premium look and feel with a 2.6 slot design. Moving on to the performance metrics of the card, it's safe to say you're not going to be disappointed at all. The RX 6750 XT outclasses the NVIDIA RTX 3060 Ti in AAA games by around 8% at 1080p. The card also closely matches the performance of the RTX 3070, even surpassing it in some games that are better optimized for AMD. In terms of 1440p gaming, the 6750 XT evenly matches the output of the 3060 Ti in some games, like Rainbow Six Siege, providing a one-to-one experience or simply a superior performance in other titles like Watch Dogs Legion, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and so on. Where this card does lack slightly is ray tracing, but it certainly performs better than the 6700 XT variant. What also performs super well is the cooling implementation of the card. It uses the Ghost thermal and cooling technology from XFX with 5 6mm copper heat pipes across the heatsink, which directly touch the GPU base and DDR memory contacts. The fans use a 13-blade design, with 2 of them 90mm in size, with a larger 100mm fan in the middle. This provides direct airflow from the front, and the heat is easily dissipated through the air vents. All of this leads to a low temperature range of 65 to 68 degrees Celsius in extensive gaming sessions. Even in these conditions, the fan noise is not really noticeable. The power requirements are, however, not extensive. XFX recommends a minimum PSU of 750 watts, but you should be just fine with a 650 watt power supply as well. You'll need 2 8-pin PCIe power connectors to provide power to the card, allowing you to output from 3 DisplayPort 1.4 ports and a single HDMI 2.1 port. In summary, the Quick 319 Radeon RX 6750 XT Core from XFX is an absolutely solid buy at around $300, providing excellent price to value without compromising on the looks or feel of the card. With this, you'll be able to enjoy smooth gameplay experience in almost any new titles that you throw at it. In short, what I like is the decent performance gains over RX 6700 XT, the excellent cooling solution, and the superb price to value. On the downside, power consumption is a little high. Ratings: Design, 9 out of 10. Performance, 9 out of 10. Acoustics, 9 out of 10. Thermals, 9 out of 10. Value, 9 out of 10. For an overall rating of 9 out of 10. Number 2. ASUS Dual RX 7800 XT OC. The ASUS Dual Radeon RX 7800 XT OC is a high-performance card based on the newest RDNA 3 architecture of the Navi 32 family. The card performs exceptionally well for its price, and AMD might have finally figured out the recipe here. From a design perspective, the card looks professional and simplistic. It has a dual-fan setup, as is apparent from the naming, with the conventional black theme throughout the card. That said, the front has a distinct design element through various patterns and cuts to avoid that plain, boring feel. On the top, along with the usual ASUS and Radeon branding, there are more subtle cuts that reveal the heatsink, deviating from the typical design found in most cards. The backplate is reinforced by aluminum, which adds to the rigidity of the PCB. The performance, however, adds to the appeal of the card on another level. To begin with, the boost clock has been boosted by around 6% by ASUS from the factory overclock, uplifting it to 2565 MHz. The core count on this card is lesser than the predecessor, the RX 6800 XT, along with other specs, which could lead you to believe the actual predecessor to this card is the RX 6800. Dodging the marketing gimmick here, thanks to the newer architecture, the card outperforms the RX 6800 XT, with a performance increase of around 7 to 8%. This is impressive, considering the 6800 XT still retails for a similar price. Looking through the lens of rivalry with NVIDIA, the card outputs more performance than the RTX 4070 and 3080, ranging from a performance difference of 9 to 12%. Even at 4K high settings, you're able to achieve playable frame rates and a relatively smooth experience. While you receive this power, the card is kept under control by two Axial Tech fans that create an increase in air pressure, allowing for more heat to dissipate. The fans also contain dual ball bearings that increase the overall lifespan, along with an onboard controller that controls the speed of the fan automatically per the thermals to minimize the fan noise levels, improving the acoustics of the card. As a cherry on top, there's quite an overhead for overclocking and tuning here, allowing you to push the performance even further. In terms of power specifications, you're looking at a TDP value of 300 watts, with a minimum PSU wattage required of 700 watts. Fortunately, ASUS has decided to use a 2 8-pin power connector for the card, which is surely more appreciable than the newer 12-volt high-power power connector, enhancing the backward compatibility with older PSUs. Finally, for output, you get a single HDMI 2.1a port, along with 3 DisplayPort 2.1 ports, which should be able to power any monitor you wish to throw at it. In summary, the ASUS Dual Radeon RX 7800 XT OC is a solid graphics card providing decent performance at 4K resolution, while effortlessly handling lower resolutions. In addition, pairing it up with an AMD processor enables the usage of new tech like AMD Smart Memory, which can potentially provide a boost in some games. In short, what I like is the superior performance over cards at a similar price range, the good overclocking headroom, and the compact design increases overall usability. What I don't like is that there's no RGB, and the cooling solution could be improved. Ratings: Design, 9 out of 10. Performance, 9.5 out of 10. Acoustics, 9 out of 10. Thermals, 8.5 out of 10. Value, 9.5 out of 10. For an overall rating of 9 out of 10. Number 1. XFX Radeon RX 7900 GRE Gaming. The The Radeon RX 7900 GRE is a GPU that few expected, but it has certainly been a pleasant surprise. It offers ray tracing performance comparable to NVIDIA's offerings, with a higher memory size and superior rasterization performance. The XFX variant of this GPU further enhances this performance leap by boosting the clock speed, opening the door to even greater gaming performance. Starting off with the design, the card uses the 5nm technology belonging to the RDNA 3 architecture. On the front, you get 3 sleek-looking fans that give off a minimal and pleasant aesthetic, which I prefer over the more traditional RGB stripped looks. The top view continues this minimal look with XFX and Radeon branding, along with a stylish gap that provides a glance into the heatsink. The back is covered by an aluminum backplate in a design that improves the overall airflow into the heatsink. Additionally, a dual BIOS switch can be found near the mounting bracket, allowing you to switch to backup BIOS if the primary one fails. Where this card doesn't fail by any means is in the performance. Starting at 1080p, you're looking at an average of 155 FPS across most modern AAA titles, beating the more expensive NVIDIA counterpart, the RTX 4070 Super, by around 3%. At 1440p, the average FPS drops down to around 117, while increasing the performance lead over its rival to around 6%. Following this trail, the card is able to provide a seamless gameplay experience even at 4K resolution at high settings, which is highly commendable considering its lower price point. When it comes to ray tracing performance, it's able to match the equally priced competitor from NVIDIA, the RTX 4070, pace to pace, even outperforming it by a small margin in some titles. This is serious performance output from the card, and the reason why it's a pleasant surprise. Moving on to the cooling solution, the card uses 3 13-blade fans that provide a quiet operation while ensuring the GPU thermals remain cool, with the support of the beefy heatsink it houses. During long gaming sessions, the thermals remain cool at around 64 degrees Celsius, which is an amazing result. In terms of power, the card is rated for 260 watts TDP, with a minimum PSU requirement of 600 watts. The power consumption can peak at around 320 watts in games that are more graphics intensive, such as Cyberpunk 2077. With that said, there's plenty of room for overclocking, even with the 7% uplift in boost clock from the stock AMD version that comes pre-applied. To power this, you're going to need 2 8-pin power connectors, which is nice to see, contrary to the 12-volt high-power 16-pin connector that's becoming the norm, slowly. This offers better compatibility over the single 12-volt high-power connector, which is a nice consideration. Finally, for output, you get a single HDMI 2.1 port and 3 DisplayPort 2.1 ports. Support for DisplayPort 2.0 is nice to see here, even though some manufacturers miss out on this at much higher price ranges. All in all, the XFX Radeon RX 7900 GRE Gaming is the best bang-to-buck option for GPUs, as it outperforms much higher-priced rivals in gaming benchmarks, along with a solid ray tracing performance improvement. All of this makes it an excellent mid-range GPU, if value is what matters most for you. In short, what I like is the solid ray tracing performance boost, the superior rasterization performance, it surpasses performance of more expensive rivals, and there's lots of room for overclocking. On the downside, power consumption can be a bit high. Ratings: Design, 9.5 out of 10. Performance, 9 out of 10. Acoustics, 9 out of 10. Thermals, 9.5 out of 10. Value, 9.5 out of 10. For an overall rating of 9.5 out of 10. So, what do you think? Which of these is the best bang for your buck GPU? If you're serious about maximizing your gaming experience, there's so much more to explore. Check out more of my videos packed with suggestions and reviews to help you stay ahead in your PC building.